Every year, the NBA awards one player the coveted Most Valuable Player award. This award is normally given to the best player on one of the best teams in the league, and most of the time it's fairly clear who should win, and the league does normally get it right. However, that's not going to be the case for this video, as today we will be talking about some of the biggest MVP snubs of all time. Now before we start, I'm not saying that these are the definitive biggest snubs, and there are some people that I may leave off, but all of these players were deserving of the MVP award their season, in my opinion. And they also have some of the best or most interesting arguments for winning. How is everybody doing? My name is Gray Hoops, and I hope you enjoy this video. In the 1972-73 season, the Boston Celtics, led by Dave Cowens and John Havlicek, would end the season with the best record in the NBA at 68-14. Cowens would also receive his first and only MVP award this season. Cowens would post incredible averages of 20.5 points, 16.2 rebounds, as well as 4 assists a night. But despite these averages and playing for the best team, Cowens would rob a player of the MVP award, a player who would have won 3 straight, and that player is none other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. A then 25-year-old Kareem, who was fresh off winning the past 2 MVP awards, would have another MVP-worthy season. Looking at his stats, he averaged 30.2 points, 16.1 rebounds, as well as 5 assists a night. Comparing their stats though, Kareem was averaging nearly 10 more points a game than Cowens, as well as shooting about 10% better from the floor. The rebounding though is nearly identical, as Dave just edges out Kareem by 0.1, but Kareem also averaged 1 more assist a night than Dave, as well as 1 less foul. Obviously, stats don't tell the whole story, but looking at these stats side by side, it's clear as day that Kareem by far had the better season. He was averaging significantly more points per game on much better efficiency and was just as productive on the glass, as well as being an excellent defender. So obviously Dave won just because the Celtics had an absurd record of 68-14 and the Bucks just weren't good. Nope, that was not the case. The Bucks would finish the season with a 60-22 record and split the season series 2-2 with the Boston Celtics. And Kareem would absolutely dominate Cowens in these 4 games. Kareem had averages of 29 points, 14.8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists while shooting close to 50% from the floor. Dave, on the other hand, would put up 21.8 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 4 assists on an awful 40% shooting. With one game, he shot a disgusting 5 for 21, or only 23.8% from the field. Now, besides their head-to-head matchup, I also want to take a look at where these two players ended up league-wide in a few of these stats, as well as some of their advanced stats. In points, Kareem would finish second in the league, while Dave finished 18th, a fairly large difference, but nothing too crazy. In rebounds, they would finish 3rd and 4th respectively, as they were both elite centers for the time, but going into the advanced stats, this is where things change. Win shares, a stat that measures how much a player attributes to winning based on their offense-defensive playing time. Kareem would lead the league at 21.9 win shares, and in fact, Dave wasn't that far behind as he was still 6th in the league. The only problem though, he only had 12 win shares, nearly 10 less than Kareem, and in fact, this is the largest win share discrepancy from an MVP and the runner-up in NBA history. Kareem was also 3rd in the NBA in true shooting percentage at 58%, and Dave wasn't too far behind as he was 7th. Oh wait, sorry, he was actually 77th. A solid 10% less than Kareem with only 48% and 74 spots behind Kareem. This efficiency difference here is just astronomical. Moving to player efficiency rating now, Kareem led the league in this stat as well with a 28.5 rating. Cowens though would barely crack the top 20 with a rating of only 18.1, good enough for exactly 20th in the league. Just to show how big of a difference this is, Dave was closer to Jerry Sloan, who put up the 100th best PER this season, than he was to Kareem. So why did Dave win MVP? Well, voter fatigue was still a thing back in the 70s, even though players voted for the MVP at the time, and Kareem had just won the last 2 MVPs. The Boston Celtics, after Bill Russell retired in 1969, they struggled to make the playoffs for 2 seasons before drafting Dave. The Celtics did finally rise back up and reclaim their spot at the top of the NBA this season, so it makes sense at the time why the players would vote for Dave, but looking back, this genuinely might be the biggest MVP stub of NBA history. Kareem led Dave in every stat except for rebounding by astronomical amounts. He was also on an extremely dominant NBA team that would win over 60 games. He would outplay the MVP winner by far in their matchups, and Dave Cowens didn't even make the All-NBA first team this season. Kareem would go on to win 4 more MVPs after this season though, and he has a record total of 6 MVPs, but Kareem deservedly should have at least 7 MVPs, as Kareem was the biggest stub of all time this season. Kareem's snub was bad enough, but this next snub is technically two players, even though one of them is more deserving, as these two players put up stats that haven't been replicated since, or not at least until recently. I don't want to touch too much on these players though, as it's pretty clear why Bill Russell did win the MVP in the 1961-62 NBA season. This season, Bill Russell would lead the Boston Celtics to the best record in the NBA at 60-20, and would win the MVP award with averages of 18.9 points, 23.6 rebounds, as well as 15.5 win shares. He had the stats, and he had the team record, so why shouldn't he have won? Well, for one, Oscar Robertson of the Cincinnati Royals would average a triple-double, posting nearly 31 points a night, 12.5 rebounds, and 11.4 assists. The Royals did have a much worse record of only 43-37 though, so I can understand why he didn't win. However, there's still one player who had a much better season. Wilt Chamberlain, third-year center for the Philadelphia Warriors, would average 50.4 points a night. Oh, and he also averaged 25.7 rebounds as well. This man averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds, led his team to 49 wins, and also had the fourth highest win share rating in NBA history. Did not win MVP. And the reason for this is simple. The MVP voting at the time was conducted by the players. Wilt was only in his third year and was already seen as a player who played for himself instead of wins. While Bill Russell was seen as the team player who might have worse stats, but he will lead you to some wins, which is absolutely fair, of course. Bill did have great stats, was an incredible defender, and had the best record in the league, but Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points a night. Just think about that for a second. 50 points a game, as well as 25 rebounds a night. It was by far the most insane statistical season we will ever see, and the fact that Oscar Robertson also has an argument over Bill just makes this even worse in my opinion. However, players did not vote for the All-NBA teams, and Wilt would make the All-NBA first team over Bill Russell this year as well. Russell was a top 10 player of all time and the better overall player than Wilt in my opinion, but this season was and will always be talked about as the season that Wilt Chamberlain was robbed of an MVP while having the most insane statistical season in NBA history. The players were right about Bill leading the team to wins, as the Celtics team did defeat Wilt's Warriors in the divisional finals and then the Los Angeles Clippers to secure the NBA championship this year. So for me personally, I would have given the award to Wilt this season, but if you value team play and success more, then I could see why you would have Bill Russell winning over Wilt Chamberlain this year, even though I disagree. This last player I want to talk about, the argument can really go either way, as it's one of the most polarizing MVP races in NBA history, and there's very strong beliefs on both sides. I personally don't mind awarding players on lower seeded teams the MVP if they are doing something truly special while dragging an awful team to the playoffs. One of the biggest reasons why I agree with Russell Westbrook winning MVP in 2017, as well as him being the clutchest player in the NBA that year, he also drug an awful Thunder team to the 6th seed. This wasn't the case though for Kobe Bryant in 2006 though. Kobe would miss out on the award and would lose to Steve Nash of the Phoenix Suns. Nash, who had just won the MVP the year prior, would take the Suns to 54 wins without Amari Stoudemire, while also having one of the most efficient seasons of all time. Nash would average 18.8 points and 10.5 assists while shooting at a clip of 51% from the floor, 44% from 3, and 92% from the line, putting Nash in the very exclusive 50-40-90 club. An incredible season by any means, and I would have said he deserves it if it wasn't for Kobe being Bryant. Kobe in his second season now without Shaq was not considered to be on a title contender this year, and the Lakers really didn't have much expectations. They would only end up as the 7th seed, so why did Kobe deserve his MVP? The same exact reason Russell Westbrook did. He dragged Luke Walton, Kwame Brown, and Smush Parker to 45 wins, only 9 less than the Suns. He was also doing something special. Kobe Bryant would average 35.4 points a game on some of the best efficiency of his career at 49% from the field, as well as 5 rebounds and 4 assists a night. Kobe would also make the all-defensive first team, carrying the Lakers on both sides of the floor as their two-way weapon. Kobe would lead the league in scoring this season. He would finish within the top 10 in steals, and for advanced stats, Kobe was 4th this season in win shares compared to 10th for Nash, as well as finishing 3rd in player efficiency rating, while Nash was just 14th. Kobe also finished 5th in box score, while Nash was only 16th, despite winning 9 more games than the Lakers. Nash by all means had an incredible season, was hyper efficient, and led a team who just lost their second best player to 54 wins. But I'm taking Kobe Bryant The guy who dropped 62 points on the Mavericks this season in just 3 quarters, the man who scored 81 points on the Raptors just weeks after scoring his 62, the man who dragged Kwame Brown to 45 wins and pushed Steve Nash and the Suns to 7 games in the first round. I do understand why Nash won MVP this season, but looking at these advanced stats and what Kobe was doing this season, it for sure should have gone to Kobe Bryant. Let me know down in the comments if you believe that Kobe should have won the MVP over Nash in 2006, as it's easily one of the most controversial races in history. Big shout out to all of you guys for helping me continue to grow. I appreciate every single one of you, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what other topics you guys would like to see covered and have my opinion on. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.